From our Chicago studios, this is the Muslim News on Muslim Network TV. Assalamu alaikum, I'm Samana Siddiqui. Amnesty International accuses Israel of deliberately starving Gaza, destroying food sources and blocking medicine, calling it a calculated policy fueling disease and famine. This and more coming up in today's show, so stay tuned. Israel continues to bar Palestinian medical evacuees from returning to Gaza, forcing them into indefinite stays abroad. Physicians for Human Rights reports that between October 2023 and February this year, more than 15,000 requests for evacuation were submitted through the World Health Organization. The requests of over 5,000 patients were approved, and they were sent for treatment to Egypt, the UAE, Qatar, and Turkey, among other countries. However, as Israel continues to oversee medical evacuations from Gaza, rights groups say its system leaves thousands of patients stranded, dependent on host nations' immigration rules and funding. Human rights groups say a liver transplant recipient who left Gaza during the first year of the genocide remains stranded in the Rafah area on the Egyptian side after recuperation. Ben Gurion University professor Dorit Nitzan, who has assisted with evacuating the sick and wounded, claims that Israel has shown more flexibility in approving evacuations in recent months. In a new report, Amnesty International has accused Israel of deliberately starving Palestinians in Gaza. The rights group says Israel is not just blocking food, but also destroying farms, livestock, and food production. Amnesty gathered testimonies from displaced families in Gaza City. People reported surviving without eggs, meat, fish, or vegetables for weeks. Pregnant and breastfeeding women described severe hardship. Many families live in tents under extreme heat, struggling to find clean water. Doctors at Al-Shifa Hospital warn that mass starvation is fueling disease outbreaks. Infectious diseases, meningitis, and Guillain-Barré syndrome are rising, while hospitals face shortages of antibiotics. Aid groups say Israel has blocked requests to bring in medicine. Amnesty said this is not collateral damage, but a calculated policy aimed at the destruction of Palestinian life. It is calling on the world to stop treating Israel's token aid deliveries to Gaza as a sufficient response to starvation in the region. The United Nations has warned that community kitchens in Gaza are now producing just 1/3 of the meals they made 4 months ago. In April, more than 1 million meals were distributed daily. Last week, that number fell to 380,000 for more than 80 kitchens. UN spokesperson Stéphane Dujarric called the situation beyond catastrophic, noting hunger-related deaths, including among children. The World Food Programme says its teams are working under impossible conditions with food supplies far below standards. Dujarric stressed that humanitarians must be able to deliver food at scale and through all crossings to prevent more deaths. While Israel has announced the lifting of a 5-month ban on shelter supplies, the UN voiced concern that the move is tied to plans to occupy Gaza. Dujarric warned this could displace thousands into already overcrowded southern areas with little infrastructure. He reiterated that the UN will not participate in any forced displacement of people. Israeli soldiers killed at least 60 Palestinians and wounded 343 others in Gaza in the past 24 hours, according to the Palestinian Health Ministry. Among them, 31 people died and nearly 200 were injured while trying to get food aid. Palestinian journalist Islam al-Kumi was killed when Israeli jets bombed his home in Gaza City's Sabra neighborhood. His death raised the number of journalists killed since October 2023 to 239. The UN said more than 1,850 Palestinians have been killed while seeking food in less than 3 months, including more than 1,000 near aid distribution sites. Hospitals reported at least 8 people killed in strikes on tents sheltering displaced families in Khan Yunis and 14 more in Deir al-Balah. Israeli forces also blew up homes in Gaza City while tanks advanced into the Sabra neighborhood under heavy shelling. The UN Refugee Agency confirmed that 360 of its staff have been killed, many while on duty since Israel's genocide on Gaza. Israel has killed over 64,000 Palestinians since October 2023. Hamas says it has accepted a ceasefire proposal for Gaza. Mediator Qatar confirmed receiving a positive response aimed at reaching a comprehensive deal to end the war. The plan includes a 60-day truce, a partial prisoner release, prisoner exchanges, and expanded humanitarian aid. A Palestinian source said mediators may soon announce an agreement and set a date for renewed talks. Guarantees were reportedly offered to ensure the truce is implemented and to work toward a permanent deal. But analysts say Israel is still putting obstacles in the way. Despite Hamas's acceptance, Israeli airstrikes on Gaza have intensified. Israeli media outlets say officials are insisting on the release of all 50 remaining prisoners before any ceasefire. So far, the government of Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has not issued an official response. However, leaks to Israeli media show it continues to resist, raising doubts over whether the truce plan can move forward. President Donald Trump says the only way to free the remaining Israeli prisoners in Gaza is to defeat Hamas. Writing on his Truth Social platform, Trump said the sooner this takes place, the better the chances of success will be. He claimed that he had secured the release of hundreds of prisoners during his presidency. Trump also said he ended 6 wars in 6 months and destroyed Iran's nuclear facilities. Israeli officials estimate that approximately 50 prisoners are still being held in Gaza, with about 20 believed to be alive. At the same time, rights groups say Israel is detaining more than 10,800 Palestinians in its prisons. Many face dire conditions, with reports of torture, medical neglect, and deaths from hunger. The U.S. revokes more than 6,000 student visas, citing crime and terror links. Rights groups say pro-Palestinian students are being targeted. Details after the break, so stay tuned. Israeli soldiers used bulldozers to demolish commercial facilities in the West Bank city of Hebron, citing lack of permits. Eyewitnesses said troops fired tear gas at residents, leaving many with breathing problems. The demolitions took place in the Eneb el-Kebir area south of the city. At the same time, illegal Israeli settlers backed by the army blocked Palestinian families in the Bedouin area of Saïr from returning to their land. This is despite a ruling by Israel's Supreme Court earlier this year allowing the families to return. Saïr Mayor Musa al-Furuh accused the army of siding with settlers instead of enforcing the court's decision. He said the military declared the area a closed zone and prevented Palestinians from accessing their homes. Israel frequently demolishes Palestinian structures in the occupied West Bank under the pretext of lacking permits, especially in Area C, which remains under Israeli control under the 1993 and 1995 Oslo Accords. President Donald Trump says he will eliminate mail-in ballots and electronic voting machines ahead of the 2026 midterm elections. He announced the move through his platform Truth Social, calling it an executive action to bring honesty to voting. Trump claims that mail-in ballots allow fraud and that no other country uses them, although Canada, Germany, Switzerland, and the UK do. He said Democrats cheat at levels never seen before and called mail-in voting a scam. Trump also attacked electronic machines as inaccurate and controversial, pushing instead for watermarked paper ballots, which he says are faster and more reliable. The president has repeated election fraud claims for years, though they remain unsubstantiated. His latest remarks followed a summit with Russian President Vladimir Putin, after which he echoed Putin's criticism of mail-in voting. The proposal is expected to trigger fierce debate as election preparations ramp up. The United States has canceled more than 6,000 student visas this year. Officials say the main reasons are overstays, criminal violations, and alleged support for terrorism. According to the State Department, approximately 4,000 revocations were tied to crimes such as assault, burglary, and driving under the influence. Another 200 to 300 cases were flagged under Section 3B of the Immigration and Nationality Act, which links certain activities to terrorism. Rights groups argue these measures are often used to silence students supporting Palestinian rights. Some cases involve deportation attempts against students accused of terrorism support for peaceful activism. The crackdown is part of President Donald Trump's America First immigration agenda, which includes stricter vetting, social media checks, and tighter monitoring of non-citizens. More than 1.1 million international students were enrolled in U.S. colleges in 2023-24, but many now face heightened security and uncertainty under the new policies. Demonstrators filled the streets of Washington, D.C. on Monday, rallying against a federal order that put the city's police under national control. The protest, led by the Free D.C. movement, called for the withdrawal of National Guard troops and federal immigration agents from the Capitol. Crowds gathered at 14th and U Streets Northwest, chanting and waving banners. Organizers said the order undermines local authority and fuels heavy-handed policing. Speakers told the crowd Washingtonians deserve control over their own law enforcement. The protest was peaceful, but analysts say it underscores growing anger at expanded federal presence in the city. The Chicago chapter of the Council on American Islamic Relations, or CAIR, is taking up a case in which an elite health club expelled a Palestinian member. A man named Sami, a former member of the East Bank Club, was targeted online for wearing clothing that showed pride in his Palestinian heritage. His photos were taken without consent and spread by hate groups, including Canary Mission and Stop Anti-Semitism, both of which target anyone supporting Palestine. They demanded his removal from the club, which gave in to pressure and canceled his membership, even though he broke no rules. CAIR Chicago says this reflects a wider campaign to vilify Palestinians amid the genocide in Gaza. Leaders insist that recreational spaces must remain safe and welcoming for everyone. Rescue operations are underway in flood-hit northwestern Pakistan, where the death toll has climbed to more than 688 since late June. Army troops and volunteers are digging through debris in Khyber Pakhtunkhwa province after floods swept away villages, bridges, and roads. Over the past 4 days, more than 368 people have died, including 220 in Buner district. Officials say at least 200 people remain missing. The National Disaster Management Authority confirmed nearly 1,000 injuries nationwide since the monsoon season began. Torrential rains continue in Peshawar, Swabi, Nowshera, and other districts, hampering relief work. In the province of Balochistan, 2 young girls were killed as fresh rains triggered flooding. Authorities are working to clear blocked roads and restore power, while relief groups rush aid to survivors. Local officials warn the toll could rise further as rescuers search rubble in mountainous terrain. Witnesses describe entire areas reduced to rubble and rock. Africa's top health agency has achieved a medical milestone. The Africa Centers for Disease Control and Prevention says a new treatment for malaria in newborns is a major advance. The medicine, called Quartem Baby, is designed for infants weighing under 5 kilograms. Until now, babies were given adjusted doses of drugs meant for older children, which raise the risk of overdose. Developed by Novartis with Medicines for Malaria Venture, the treatment was approved in July by Swiss regulators. Trials were carried out in 8 African countries, including Nigeria, Kenya, Uganda, and Malawi. Africa CDC Director General Dr. Jean Kaseya said the drug ensures even the most vulnerable infants now have safe and effective treatment. The therapy will be rolled out in trial countries in the coming weeks. According to the World Health Organization, malaria killed nearly 600,000 people in 2023, with children under 5 making up 3/4 of Africa's deaths. A UK startup is taking cancer treatment into orbit. BioOrbit is designing at-home cancer drugs that could save patients time, money, and hospital space. But the company's manufacturing plant won't be on Earth. It will be on the International Space Station. Scientists say microgravity is key. On Earth, gravity disrupts the growth of delicate drug crystals, creating defects. In space, crystals form more perfectly, making drugs more stable and easier to deliver. The stability could transform hospital-only IV treatments into simple at-home injections like an EpiPen. That's all from our Chicago studios tonight. Thank you for watching Muslim News. We are a community channel dedicated to bringing you stories you can trust. Please like, share, and subscribe to our content. You can also comment to let us know what you think of our coverage. Please donate now by visiting muslimnetwork.tv/donate. For more content, keep watching Muslim Network TV. Salam.